This is Nicholas Riffle with IMember. Um, this is a non-visual learning application meant for people with kind of low vision or no sight at all. The entire application is built to be very keyboard navigable. I wrote this using React, Speak.js, as well as MobX, which manages the state for React. You can see as I start tabbing through here, everything gets this red box around it. I got that with inspiration from Focuser and What Input. I learned about during an accessibility meetup. Pretty cool tool. Just kind of helps you know and like sees for somebody who doesn't necessarily have the best vision to know where their focus is if they're using their keyboard. To start off this demo, we'll get into this start training here. This will bring us to a page that basically allows us to choose how many lessons we want to do. So as you can see here, it'll ask you, all right, so do you want to do 1 to 10? Currently we only have 2 prompts built into the system so far, but we'll just do 1 for the sake of demos. So once you select 1, that's basically saying you're just going to do one like prompt and set of questions with it. We'll begin our session.
Use tab, shift tab, and enter to navigate the app. Now use tab and then enter to begin app.
So you'll notice that the app, it talked to you as soon as you get in, and really I'm just trying to tell people who maybe aren't familiar with using their keyboard to navigate through a web page how to use it. So that first thing is just saying to use tab, shift tab, and enter to pretty much get through this application. That speaking is actually through the Speak.js library I tracked down. It's a JavaScript library that if you give it pretty much anything as input, it'll just speak it to you, and you can change the pitch as well as the speed, which makes it kind of cool. And so right here we get to this begin exercise. If you remember, that's right after we said we're just using 1 lesson. When I click enter on this begin exercise, typically it's going to read a large story prompt to us. Large or large, I mean really whatever size you give it. And then once it's done, it's going to progress us into the next page, which is all the questions. For the sake of this demo, normally when it speaks to you, it takes a couple minutes. So just for timeliness, we're not going to actually hear it. But you can imagine a voice just telling you basically kind of a story. All of the content I'm using, I've grabbed from Wikipedia. So they're just kind of interesting, kind of funny articles and different things like that. So we'll get into this begin exercise. So you'll notice you have this whole page here with questions and answers, and you'll notice that none of them you actually can just read straight off the page. Everything you get to it, and then it'll read it to you, and that's kind of the non-visual side. I was trying to hit that so many things like lumosity or something like that, you have to watch and you get everything from visual cues. And I wanted to go down the route of hearing everything and then answering it based off of like memory and just being able to recall it. So part of this, it's not just for people with low sight, but it could also be used for like a student sitting in class, maybe isn't paying attention 100%, maybe on their computer or something like that, and giving them that, kind of trying to train that active listening skill so that even though they aren't 100% engaged, they can still try and pick out the more important things. So an example, you'll hear this guy is going to talk to you. So if I click on this question 1.
Question 1. What were the Bone Wars also referred to as?
So it asks you its question, and then you can progress through these different answers. We'll just do one example of the answer, and then we'll go straight to it.
Question 1. Answer 2. Bone Rush.
Cool. So that gives you context. It's telling you that you're within question 1. This is the second answer, and then right below that you can select it.
Question 1. Answer 2 selected.
So see, it tells you that within question 1 you've selected answer 2. So we're going to do that for all these really quick, just to show kind of how this
Question
works.
2. Answer 1 selected. Question 3. Answer 3 selected.
And now once you've finished actually selecting your answers and listening to the questions, you would go to the submit button, and at this point, if we had selected to have a lesson that was longer than length 1, we would actually go into immediately hearing the next prompt and answering those questions. Currently, I just have it set up for like more multiple choice questions, as you can see here. But in the future, as more of a stretch goal, it would be kind of coming up with new exercises. And also, as you progress through, like if you get these correct, then the next ones will be harder questions. So instead of being, like it was the car black or white or something like that, it would ask you more of a inferential question based on what you heard. So And perhaps the prompt wouldn't have actually told you what the question is asking. So just a little bit more difficult, or also just increasing the speed at which it speaks to you. So you're trying to work on picking out those more important things from a much faster speech. But for now, since we only have length 1, we'll submit this guy, and you see the results of your whole session. Section 0 refers to each question or prompt. So since we had that first prompt that we actually didn't actually hear it, but we saw the questions, you'll say section 0. Here's question 1. You didn't get it right. Question 2 didn't. It'll show you right or wrong. And then at the end of this, I would want to show a results like statistics to say like, these are the things, the percentage of questions you got right, for depending on like the difficulty of question and so on and so forth. Currently, this is all front-end based. I had a partner going into the semester, but unfortunately she dropped about 3 or 4 weeks in, so we didn't get the back end completed. But going forward, it would be very nice to basically have that back end database where you could then, within this results page, you could see how you stack up against other people who have done this, as well as we could have a login system so that way you can see how well you've done over time. As it is now, you would be able to just see like locally, like each time you got into this application, that would save its local storage and local cache, but it wouldn't actually keep that forever. So thank you very much for listening to IMember. This was my demo presentation, and if you have any more questions, please let me know, and hopefully we'll see this guy keep going forward.